There's a moment in life when a sigh tells a whole story. I was standing inside a premium department store yesterday when I met a woman in her early 70s. She was dressed to perfection. An elegant designer dress, a luxury handbag that looked like it had just stepped off a runway. Everything about her spoke of refinement. Yet as she stood in front of the mirror, her shoulders dropped ever so slightly. Then came the quiet sigh. She whispered almost to herself, "Why do I still look so old-fashioned, no matter what I wear? My daughter keeps telling me to do something with my hair, but I just don't know what to change." At that moment, I knew instantly. The issue wasn't the clothes, it wasn't the bag, it wasn't the makeup, it was her hair. Her hair was too dark, flat, and lifeless. No movement, no shine, no volume. And because of that, every expensive stitch she wore only made the contrast sharper. Instead of sophistication, the look gave off an air of heaviness, even sadness. It was like putting a masterpiece painting in a cracked, faded frame. The frame ruins the canvas. After 60, hair stops being just hair. It becomes a reflection of your vitality, your confidence, and the way the world reads your story. A hairstyle can soften the lines of the face, brighten the eyes, and project dignity. Or it can drag the entire presence downward, making even the finest wardrobe feel dated. That is why I decided to make this film. Too many women over 60 face the exact same struggle. Feeling like something is off, yet not knowing that the culprit is right on top of their head. So today I'll walk you through 3 things. First, the 5 worst hairstyles that can add 20 years to your face in an instant. Second, the 5 hairstyles that do the exact opposite, instantly lifting your look, making you appear elegant, youthful, and vibrant. And third, the simple at-home styling and care techniques that anyone can do without needing a salon visit every week. This isn't about chasing youth or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about aligning your outer look with the grace, wisdom, and vitality that's already inside you. Because when your hair tells the right story, the world sees the truth of who you are. So, let's begin. And where else could we start but with the 5 most aging hairstyles you should leave behind? Why does hair matter so much more as we grow older? The answer lies in both biology and perception. By the time we reach our 60s, the skin naturally loses some of its even tone. Melanin, the pigment that gives our skin its color, doesn't distribute as smoothly as it once did. Age spots, freckles, and uneven shading begin to appear. At the same time, collagen, the protein that once kept skin plump and smooth, starts to thin. The face carries more shadows. Now, place lifeless, flat, or overly harsh hair on top of that. Suddenly the face doesn't just look older, it looks tired. Hair is the frame of the face. Imagine a portrait in a museum. No matter how brilliant the painting is, the wrong frame makes it look cheap, dull, or out of place. In the same way, a hairstyle can either soften the effects of aging or amplify them mercilessly. Clothes, no matter how expensive, can only do so much. They start below the shoulders. But hair? Hair is the first thing people see when they look at your face. It's the halo that outlines your expression, your smile, your eyes, which means it has the power to instantly shift perception toward elegance and energy or toward fatigue and age. I've seen it countless times. Women walk into my chair carrying luxury bags, diamond jewelry, and designer coats. Yet if the hair is heavy, dark, or outdated, all of those details disappear into the background. The paradox of luxury is this. The more elegant the outfit, the more glaring the contrast becomes when the hair is wrong. But here's the hopeful side. When the hair is right, everything else falls into harmony. Wrinkles soften, the skin seems brighter, even posture improves. Why? Because confidence flows outward once the reflection in the mirror finally matches how a person feels inside. So before we even get to the don'ts and do's, I want you to remember this. At 60, 70, or 80, your hair is no longer decoration. It's communication. It's the silent language that tells the world who you are. And with that in mind, let's step into the first of the 5 hairstyles that can make you look 20 years older in a heartbeat. The first aging trap is one I see more often than almost anything else: jet black dye or overly artificial colors. Many women tell me the same thing. As long as my grays are covered, I'll look younger. On the surface, it sounds logical. But in reality, harsh black or overly saturated shades like purple or cherry red can do the exact opposite. Here's why. As skin matures, it naturally loses evenness in tone. Age spots, fine lines and uneven patches become part of the landscape. When hair is dyed in an unforgiving, flat black, the contrast between the skin and the hair becomes extreme. Instead of softening features, it exaggerates them, making wrinkles sharper, pigmentation darker, and the face paler. To the eye, it often looks less like natural hair and more like a wig. Artificial tones carry their own dangers. Deep reds can make the skin appear flushed or blotchy. Purples, though trendy on younger women, have a way of turning older skin sallow, almost yellowish. The effect is jarring. Instead of looking vibrant, the face looks unbalanced, as if the hair and the skin belong to two different people. What's really happening here is color psychology. High contrast shades communicate drama and rebellion. Great for teenagers, not always for women seeking elegance in their 60s or 70s. When the hair screams for attention, the natural grace of the face gets drowned out. So what's the solution? Softness and harmony. Natural browns, like chocolate, caramel, or warm chestnut, tend to blend with mature skin in a flattering way. These tones bring warmth back to the complexion, brightening the face rather than draining it. If brown feels too warm, subtle ash browns or dark grays can also look refined. The key is to choose a shade that complements, not competes with, your skin. A simple trick? Hold your wrist under natural daylight. If your veins look green, you likely have warm undertones. Caramel or golden browns will suit you. If your veins look blue, you have cooler undertones. Ash or chocolate browns will flatter you best. The bottom line is this: covering gray hair shouldn't mean burying your natural beauty under a wall of black ink. The goal is not to erase age, but to highlight vitality. And once you see the difference that the right color makes, you'll understand why the wrong one can be so costly. The second mistake is one that hides in plain sight. The old, fixed center part with long, limp hair. I can't tell you how many women in their 60s and 70s sit down in my chair and say, "I've been parting my hair this way for 30 years. Why change it now?" And that habit is often the very thing that's making them look older. Here's the truth. As we age, hair naturally becomes thinner. The strands lose density and the scalp begins to show through more easily. If you keep parting your hair in the exact same spot year after year, the line widens, like a worn-out road. What once looked sleek in your 20s now reads as thinning or even balding in your 70s. The center part also highlights something else: facial asymmetry. None of us have perfectly symmetrical faces, and with age, one side often droops more than the other. A middle part cuts the face in half like a ruler, calling attention to every imbalance. The result? A heavier, older look that pulls the face downward. And then there's the length. Long, straight hair without layers may once have felt elegant, but as the strands lose body, they fall flat against the cheeks. Instead of framing the face, they drag it down, emphasizing sagging and loss of volume. So what's the solution? A gentle shift. Changing your part to a 6:4 or even 7:3 ratio instantly softens the face, adding a sense of lift. Pair that with a medium-length cut around the shoulders with light layers, and suddenly the hair gains movement and bounce. The lifted roots create the illusion of fuller hair, and the layers blur harsh lines around the jaw. I've seen women try this change and gasp at the mirror. It doesn't just update their look, it gives them back a sense of energy they didn't realize they were missing. A simple shift in parting, a few inches off the length, and the whole face looks more alive. It's a reminder. Sometimes the smallest changes carry the biggest transformation. The third mistake is one many women shrug off as no big deal: neglecting the roots. I often hear, "I don't want to damage my hair with too much dye, so I just leave the roots alone." It sounds harmless, even practical. But here's what really happens. The moment your natural roots, especially gray or white strands, start to show, the entire hairstyle looks unfinished. Instead of polished, the effect is tired and careless. The crown of the head is where the eye naturally lands. When new growth is several shades lighter than the dyed ends, the contrast is obvious. The hair looks patchy, and the face itself seems duller. In fact, even the best blowout or wave can be undone by roots that stand out starkly from the rest of the color. Think of it this way. Roots are like the foundation of a house. If the base is cracked or discolored, the whole building feels neglected, no matter how beautiful the exterior design. The good news? You don't always need a full dye job to fix it. Root touch-up methods have come a long way. There are sprays, powders, and sticks designed specifically for quick coverage, perfect for when you're in between salon visits or have an unexpected event. They wash out easily and buy you time without damaging the hair. For women who prefer longer-lasting results, partial root coloring is a great option. It refreshes just the crown and hairline, blending grays seamlessly into the rest of the color. This way, the overall look stays consistent, and you avoid the heavy chemical load of constant full dyes. I've seen transformations happen in less than 15 minutes with nothing more than a root spray. Suddenly, a face that looked drained appears lively again. That's how much influence roots have on the overall impression. So don't underestimate this detail. Neglecting the roots might feel like a shortcut, but in reality, it's one of the fastest ways to add unnecessary years. A little upkeep goes a long way. Em gửi tiếp cho cụ bản tổng hợp, không còn chữ stop. The fourth mistake is one that often comes from good intentions, heavy bangs or the sharp, blunt bob that exposes the neckline. Let's start with bangs. Many women tell me, I grew them out because I don't like seeing my forehead wrinkles. It makes sense. Cover the lines and no one notices, right? The problem is, thick bangs act like a curtain. They block natural light from reaching the upper face, casting shadows over the eyes. Instead of looking fresh, the expression becomes closed off, darker, and even a little stern. Then there's the blunt chin-length cut that leaves the neck completely exposed. At first glance, it may feel chic and simple, but for women past 60, the neck and jawline are often the first areas to show age. A severe bob frames those features with an unforgiving outline, drawing attention to every wrinkle and sag. It's like shining a spotlight on the very parts most of us would rather soften. I once had a client in her late 60s who had worn a heavy straight bob for years. When we reshaped her cut to graze just below the neck and added soft face-framing pieces, she looked 10 years younger, instantly. It wasn't magic. It was simply redirecting the eye. By softening the line and allowing a little movement, the hairstyle stopped highlighting the signs of age and started balancing them instead. So what's the better choice? Go for lightness and coverage, but not in a heavy-handed way. Bangs should be thinned out, airy, almost transparent. That way they brighten the face while still softening forehead lines. As for the bob, let it fall a few centimeters longer than the chin, just enough to cover part of the neckline. Add gentle layers around the face and suddenly the whole style feels youthful and natural. The truth is, heaviness rarely equals elegance. In hair, as in life, it's the subtle touches that bring back lightness and vitality. The fifth and final aging trap is what I call the granny perm. If you lived through the 80s or 90s, you probably remember it. Tight, tiny curls wrapped on small rods until the hair ballooned into a puff. Back then, it had its place. But on women over 60 today, it almost always creates the wrong impression. Why? Because the curls are too uniform, too small, and too dense. Instead of adding softness, they create a stiff, triangular shape, wide at the crown, narrow at the chin. The silhouette looks unnatural, as if the hair has been sculpted into a helmet. On top of that, the frizz that often comes with overprocessed perms only magnifies the problem. One woman once told me, I keep it this way because it's easier to manage. But the truth is, those tight curls don't just date the look. They actually require high maintenance to keep from frizzing or collapsing. And culturally, that style has become shorthand for old-fashioned. No matter how modern the outfit, the hair pulls the whole look backward in time. Now, this doesn't mean perms are bad. In fact, the right kind of curl can be transformative. The key is scale and direction. Instead of tiny, rigid curls, think soft waves created with larger rods, 2 to 3 centimeters in diameter. These waves move with the head, catch the light, and add volume without bulk. Where the granny perm shouts stuck in the past, soft waves whisper elegance and vitality. A useful way to think about it is in shapes. A triangular silhouette drags the face down, but a rounded or gently oval silhouette lifts it up. Hair should frame and soften the face, not overwhelm it. So if you've been hanging on to that old perm because it feels comfortable, maybe it's time to let it go. The world has moved forward, and your style deserves to move forward with it. Now that we've seen the pitfalls, let's turn the page and talk about what works. The first youthful, flattering option is what stylists call the C-curl perm. This style is subtle, yet powerful. Instead of tight spirals, the ends of the hair bend gently inward or outward, forming the shape of the letter C. That little curve adds softness around the jawline and creates a polished, graceful finish. It's not dramatic, it doesn't scream for attention, but it quietly frames the face in a way that lifts rather than drags. One of my clients, a woman in her late 60s, had worn flat, shoulder-length hair for decades. The strands just hung there, making her face look longer and heavier than it was. When we added C-curls to the ends, her whole appearance changed. Her cheeks looked a touch fuller, her jawline less sharp, and her eyes brighter. She couldn't stop smiling at the mirror. The beauty of the C-curl is its versatility. It works on short, medium, and shoulder-length cuts. On a bob, it creates cheek roundness. On mid-length hair, it adds movement and bounce. Even on thinning hair, the inward curl tricks the eye into seeing more volume. And because the curve is gentle, it doesn't fight the natural flow of the hair. It enhances it. Think of the C-curl as a finishing brushstroke on a painting. It doesn't dominate the artwork, it completes it. That final sweep of softness makes the whole canvas feel alive. From a practical point of view, it's also low maintenance. With the right cut, a light blow-dry at home is enough to set the ends into place. For women who want polish without spending hours in front of the mirror, the C-curl offers an elegant balance. When you see the before and after, the difference is subtle but striking. It's not about looking like someone else. It's about looking like yourself, just more vibrant, more graceful, more aligned with the confidence you already carry. The second style that never fails to flatter women over 60 is the Grace Perm, and the name couldn't be more fitting. Unlike the tight curls of the past, the Grace Perm is built on wide, flowing S-shaped waves. Picture the letter S drawn through the strands, soft, continuous, and elegant. These curves cascade gently, giving the impression of fullness and motion without stiffness. One of my clients once told me, "I don't want to look trendy, I just want to look myself, but better." The Grace Perm does exactly that. It doesn't scream for attention, it enhances. The volume flows evenly across the head, balancing the face and softening the jawline. The result is hair that looks healthy, abundant, and alive. There's also a psychological effect at play. Loose waves naturally catch the light. They reflect shine in different directions, which brightens the complexion. When paired with a gentle, natural hair color, the Grace Perm creates the illusion of younger, healthier skin. It's not makeup, it's not surgery. It's simply light and movement working together. This style is especially powerful for women who feel their hair has thinned too much for anything glamorous. In reality, those S-shaped waves create the look of double the density. The curves lift the strands off the scalp, hiding sparseness and giving the impression of bounce. And here's the best part. It's easy to maintain. With larger rods and gentle processing, the waves stay smooth instead of frizzy. A quick finger comb in the morning is often enough. For women who don't want to wrestle with rollers or curling irons every day, the Grace Perm is a gift. Think of it as the hairstyle equivalent of a silk scarf. It doesn't overpower, but it adds grace, softness, and effortless refinement to everything around it. If the C-curl gives polish and the Grace Perm gives softness, then the Build Perm delivers something every woman over 60 needs: volume at the roots. This style works from the very top, lifting the hair away from the scalp and creating fullness all the way down. Unlike styles that only curl at the ends, the Build Perm uses larger curls that start closer to the roots, blending inward and outward waves so the hair looks naturally thick and bouncy. Why does this matter so much? As we age, hair not only thins in diameter but also loses its lift. The crown begins to flatten, and flat crowns always signal fatigue. By bringing volume back at the top, the Build Perm instantly restores energy and vitality to the entire face. I remember one client in her 70s who had struggled with her fine, straight hair for years. No matter how she styled it, it clung to her scalp. After giving her a Build Perm, she looked in the mirror and said, "It feels like my head is lighter." What she really meant was, her reflection finally matched her inner spirit again. The Build Perm also changes how the face is read. With more lift at the crown, the eye is drawn upward. Cheekbones appear higher, the jawline softer, and the whole expression brighter. It's not just hair, It's architecture. Just as a well-built roof makes a house look taller and grander, lifted roots make a face look fresher and more youthful. And maintenance? Surprisingly easy. Because the curls are large and relaxed, they don't tangle or frizz the way tighter perms do. A gentle blow-dry with a round brush is usually enough to revive the bounce, and even on low-effort days, the built-in volume keeps the style looking intentional. If you've ever felt that your hair makes you look tired, this is the cure. The Build Perm doesn't just add curls, it restores the crown, the frame, and the lift that makes a face feel alive. The fourth youthful style is a simple adjustment, but it can transform the entire face. A 6'4" side part with light, see-through bangs. Why does this work so well? Because symmetry isn't always our friend. No one's face is perfectly balanced, and as we age, one side tends to droop a little more than the other. A strict center part only magnifies that imbalance, splitting the face down the middle like a ruler. But shift the part just slightly. 6 parts to one side, 4 to the other, and suddenly the face looks more natural, softer, more alive. The side part draws the eye diagonally instead of vertically. That diagonal flow tricks the viewer into seeing lift where there may be sag, balance where there may be tilt. It's a small optical illusion, but it makes a huge difference. And then there are the bangs. Forget the heavy, blunt fringe that blocks light and adds weight. The modern choice is the see-through bang, a wispy layer that reveals about 30 to 50% of the forehead. This airy softness brightens the entire face, letting the skin catch the light while still blurring lines on the forehead. The effect is both fresh and graceful, never heavy. One client once told me, "I never thought a part could change so much." But after switching from a center to a 6'4" side part, she looked instantly refreshed. Her daughter said she looked 10 years younger, and all we'd done was adjust the angle of her hair. When asking for this at the salon, the secret is in the wording. I'd like a 6'4" side part that flows naturally and bangs that are thinned out so they're light and airy. That small detail ensures you get softness instead of a block of hair hanging over your forehead. It's proof that youthfulness doesn't always come from drastic changes. Sometimes it's about angles, proportions, and light, subtle shifts that realign the face and give it back its natural radiance. If harsh black or artificial reds can add years, then the opposite is also true. Nothing refreshes a face faster than the right shade of natural brown. Chocolate brown, caramel brown, ash brown, these tones have a softness that blends beautifully with mature skin. Instead of creating harsh contrast, they create harmony, bringing warmth back into the complexion and making the face look brighter, fresher, and healthier. Why does this matter so much? As we age, our skin often becomes uneven in color, sometimes dull, sometimes blotchy. A harsh black dye makes those irregularities stand out even more. But a soft brown shade balances everything, almost like a natural filter. It doesn't erase the signs of age, it smooths them out, gently shifting the spotlight back onto the eyes and smile. The choice of shade depends on undertone. Here's the simplest test you can do at home. Look at the veins on your wrist in natural daylight. If they appear green, you have warm undertones. Golden or caramel browns will flatter you most. If your veins look blue, you have cool undertones. Ash or chocolate browns will harmonize best with your complexion. And here's a hidden trick. Lighting changes everything. The way hair color looks under the soft glow of indoor light is different from how it looks in bright sunlight. Browns are forgiving because they adapt to both environments. Black, on the other hand, looks flat under every light, and reds often exaggerate under sunlight, making the color look harsher. One of my clients, a 72-year-old with porcelain skin, had dyed her hair jet black for decades. After convincing her to try a soft chocolate brown, she couldn't believe the difference. "It's like someone turned on a light over my face," she said. And her friends didn't ask if she had changed her hair. They asked if she had been on vacation. That's how natural the shift looked. The truth is, hair color should never look like armor. It should look like it belongs, like it's part of your natural presence. And for women over 60, browns are the quiet secret to achieving exactly that. The sixth youthful style is one that strikes a balance between elegance and practicality. The mid-length layered cut with crown volume. Why mid-length? Because it avoids the two extremes that often add years. Long, heavy hair tends to drag the face down, while overly short cuts can feel severe, exposing the neck and jawline too sharply. A shoulder-length style, layered with care, lands right in the sweet spot, soft, flattering, and easy to maintain. But the magic isn't just in the length, it's in the layers. By cutting the hair in subtle steps rather than one blunt line, layers create movement. They blur the edges of the face, soften the jaw, and give the impression of fullness, even if the hair is thin. It's like tailoring clothes to fit your shape. Suddenly, everything feels balanced. And then there's the crown. For women over 60, crown volume is non-negotiable. A flat crown makes the whole face look heavier and more tired, while even a small lift at the roots instantly restores energy. Imagine a building with a roof that sags in the middle. It pulls the entire structure down. Add support at the top, and suddenly the whole design feels taller, lighter, and more graceful. Hair works the same way. One of my clients once said, "I didn't think my haircut mattered much. I just wanted something simple." But after we gave her a layered cut with crown volume, she was stunned. The layers skimmed gently around her cheeks, softening her features, while the lifted crown made her posture look straighter, her eyes brighter. She told me she felt like her reflection finally matched how young she felt inside. Another advantage? It's easy to style. Layers fall into place naturally, and a little root lift spray or a few minutes with a round brush can keep the crown looking full all day. No endless fussing in front of the mirror. Think of this cut as a middle path, the balance between youthfulness and sophistication, between ease and elegance. It doesn't try too hard, yet it delivers everything a woman wants: softness, vitality, and grace. The seventh youthful style is one that radiates confidence: the pixie cut. This is not just a haircut, it's a statement. The pixie is short, chic, and designed to bring attention back to the face. By exposing the ears and neckline while keeping lift at the crown, it creates a sense of energy and modernity that very few styles can match. Why is it so powerful for women over 60? Because it fights against the heaviness that age can bring. When hair thins, a shorter cut adds strength and structure. When the jawline softens, crown volume draws the eye upward. And when a woman feels stuck in the same style she's worn for decades, a pixie cut can be the ultimate reset. Suddenly, the mirror shows someone vibrant, daring, and refreshed. But here's the secret. The pixie must be customized. Too short, and it can feel severe. Too flat, and it loses its spark. The best pixies are slightly layered at the top, giving fullness where it's needed most, while keeping the sides neat and light. This balance softens the overall shape while keeping the style modern. Accessories shine with this cut too. Earrings, necklaces, even glasses suddenly become more noticeable, framed by the clean lines of the hair. One client in her late 60s told me, "I never thought I could pull this off. But once I cut it, everyone said I looked like I'd found my spark again." The pixie is also practical. Styling takes minutes, sometimes just a quick tousle with mousse or wax, and you're done. For women with busy, active lifestyles, this freedom is invaluable. Above all, the pixie cut sends a message: I'm not afraid of change. I embrace it. That courage is magnetic. It's not about trying to look 20 again. It's about embodying the elegance, energy, and individuality of the woman you are today. Not every transformation needs to happen in a salon. With a few tools and a little know-how, you can give your hair fresh volume right at home. And the simplest place to start is with rollers and a blow dryer. The beauty of rollers is that they work with your hair's natural texture instead of fighting against it. All you need are medium-sized rollers, about 1 to 1.5 inches in diameter. After washing your hair, towel dry until it's damp but not dripping. Then spray a little water or mist on the crown to keep it pliable. Here's the trick. Don't grab too much hair at once. A section about the width of your thumb is enough. Roll from the ends upward toward the roots, but stop about half an inch from the scalp. Pulling too tightly can damage the roots and create harsh lines. The goal isn't tension, it's lift. Leave the rollers in for about 30 to 40 minutes. During that time, let the hair dry naturally or use a blow dryer on medium heat to set the curl. When you remove the rollers, don't rush for a brush. Instead, run your fingers gently through the strands to separate them. A brush will flatten the lift you just created, but fingers preserve the volume. Finish with a quick blast of cool air from the blow dryer. That cold shot seals the cuticle, locking in shine and making the style last longer. It may sound simple, but I've seen women gain an entirely new look in less than an hour with nothing more than rollers and a dryer. Flat crowns become full, tired faces look awake again. One client told me after trying this at home, it felt like I'd found my younger self hiding under my hair all along. That's the power of a little lift. No harsh chemicals, no long appointments, just everyday tools used the right way. If rollers and a blow dryer are the classics, then curling irons and modern styling gadgets are the upgrades that bring convenience into the mix. And the truth is, they're not just for younger women. Used correctly, they can be a lifesaver for women over 60. Let's start with the curling iron. The rule of thumb, bigger is better. A thick barrel, about 1.25 to 1.5 inches, creates soft waves instead of tight curls. Always prep the hair with a heat protectant spray first. Mature hair is more fragile, and skipping this step is like stepping into the sun without sunscreen. When curling, less is more. Wrap each section loosely and count to 3 before releasing. This avoids heat damage while still creating shape. And don't try to curl too much hair at once. Small sections ensure the style looks even and natural. But what if you don't want to fuss with technique? That's where modern tools come in. Automatic curling irons, for example, pull in the strand and curl it for you, releasing a perfect wave in seconds. Volumizing brush dryers combine a round brush and blow dryer in one device. Just slide them through your hair, and they add both smoothness and lift at the crown. I've seen women who swore they could never style their own hair light up after trying one of these tools. I thought it would be complicated, one said, but it's actually easier than brushing my hair. The advantage of these gadgets isn't just convenience, it's consistency. They take the guesswork out of styling. No awkward angles with a traditional curling iron, no tired arms from holding a blow dryer and brush at once. With the push of a button, you get salon-level results without leaving home. And when combined with the right products, lightweight serum for shine, mousse for volume, or a texturizing spray for hold, you can build a style that lasts all day. The key is matching the product to the hair's condition. Finer hair needs lift, thicker hair needs smoothing, and dry hair needs moisture. It's proof that technology, when used thoughtfully, can make beauty simpler. You don't have to be a professional to look polished. You just need the right tools and a little guidance. No hairstyle, no cut, no color, no perm will ever look its best if the scalp and hair underneath aren't healthy. After 60, taking care of the foundation becomes just as important as the style itself. Here's why. Hair naturally changes with age. Strands grow thinner in diameter, new growth slows down, and the scalp becomes drier. By your 60s, hair is often only about 70% as thick as it was in your 20s. Without proper care, it can lose not only shine but also strength. The first step is shampooing wisely. Forget the habit of scalding hot showers. That strips away natural oils and leaves both scalp and hair dry. Aim for lukewarm water around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 to 40 degrees Celsius. Use your fingertips, not your nails, to massage the scalp in small circles for 2 to 3 minutes. This boosts circulation, nourishes follicles, and even relieves stress. Next, deep nourishment. A hydrating hair mask or conditioner once or twice a week can bring back softness and elasticity. Store-bought masks work fine, but natural treatments are surprisingly effective too. An olive oil and egg yolk mask delivers protein and moisture. Mashed avocado with honey soothes dryness. Even yogurt with a little honey can balance an oily scalp. These aren't gimmicks, they work because they deliver nutrients straight to the hair fiber. Hydration isn't only external. Drinking plenty of water keeps both scalp and hair from becoming brittle. Think of your hair like a plant. Without enough water, it wilts. With steady hydration, it thrives. And then there's brushing, one of the simplest but most overlooked habits. Brushing twice a day distributes natural oils evenly, giving the hair a healthy sheen. Always start at the ends to detangle before moving upward, and choose brushes made of natural materials like wood or boar bristles to reduce static. Finally, don't forget protection. Just as we shield our skin from sun and pollution, our hair needs defense too. A wide-brimmed hat on sunny days, a silk pillowcase to reduce friction at night, these little choices add up. Healthy hair isn't about chasing youth. It's about giving your strands the strength to shine. so that whatever style you choose, whether it's a layered cut, a wave, or a pixie, it has a healthy canvas to rest on, because elegance always starts at the roots. Sometimes the biggest transformations don't come from a drastic cut or a new color. They come from small, almost invisible shifts, the kind you can try right now at home. That's the idea behind what I call the small change challenge. The challenge is simple. For 3 days, make just one adjustment to your hair routine and watch how it changes the way you see yourself in the mirror. Maybe it's as easy as shifting your part from the center to a soft 6'4" side. On day 1, you'll notice the crown feels fuller. By day 3, you'll realize your whole face looks brighter and more balanced. Or maybe it's lifting the roots at your crown with a round brush and blow dryer for just 2 minutes in the morning. That tiny bit of volume can stop your face from looking tired and start it looking alive. Even trimming your bangs to lighten them, or simply thinning them so they let light through, can make you look as though you've had a full makeover, even though you've only changed half an inch of hair. To see the effect clearly, I encourage women to take 2 photos, one before the change and one after 3 days. Same lighting, same distance, same angle. Almost every time, the difference shocks them. The mirror shows it in real time, but the side-by-side photo proves it beyond doubt. The point isn't perfection, it's possibility. When you see how much impact one small tweak makes, you begin to understand that age doesn't have to dictate style. You realize you're not locked into the same habits you've carried for decades. With one shift, you give yourself permission to see a younger, fresher, more confident version of yourself. That's the power of the small change challenge. It's not just about hair. It's about rediscovering what's possible. Let's go back to that woman I met at the luxury department store, the one with the designer dress and the quiet sigh. After a simple change to her color, part, and crown volume, she walked back to the mirror. This time, she didn't sigh. She smiled. Her hair, once flat and jet black, now carried a soft chocolate brown that harmonized with her skin. Her part shifted slightly to the side, lifting her expression. And a touch of crown volume gave her face the energy it had been missing. It wasn't just her reflection that changed. It was her entire presence. She stood taller, her shoulders squared, even her voice carried more warmth when she spoke. That's the hidden truth of hair. It doesn't just change how you look, it changes how you feel and how the world responds to you. And she's not alone. I've seen the same story unfold countless times. Take Ellen, age 68, with a round face. She always felt her cheeks looked too full. By layering her hair just below the chin and adding gentle waves, the roundness softened and suddenly her face looked slimmer. Or Margaret, 72, with a long, narrow face. Straight, flat hair made her look even longer. With a grace perm, those flowing S-curves added width where she needed it, restoring balance. Then there was Teresa, 65, with a strong, square jawline. She worried that shortcuts made her look masculine. But with a pixie that emphasized crown volume and kept the sides light, her jawline actually appeared softer, while her eyes and smile became the stars of her face. Different faces, different needs, but the principle remains the same. The right hairstyle works with your features, not against them. It balances, lifts, and harmonizes. It lets the inner person finally shine without being weighed down by habits from decades past. When you see those transformations side by side, the before with heavy lines and tiredness, the after with lightness and vitality, you realize something important. It was never about chasing youth. It was always about finding alignment between the person in the mirror and the person inside. We've covered a lot of ground together, so let's bring it all home. First, the 5 styles to leave behind. Harsh black or artificial colors that exaggerate lines instead of softening them. The fixed center part and long, flat hair that drag the face down. Neglected roots that make even a polished look seem careless. Heavy bangs and blunt chin-length cuts that shadow the face and spotlight the neck. The overly tight granny perm that locks you into the past. And then the 5 styles that can bring light back into your face. The C-curl perm for gentle, elegant curves. The grace perm for flowing, youthful waves. The build perm for crown-to-tip fullness. The 6'4" side part with see-through bangs to soften and balance. Natural brown tones that harmonize with skin and restore warmth. Mid-length layered cuts that create movement and frame the face. The the bold pixie cut that radiates confidence. On top of that, we explored simple at-home techniques, rollers, blow dryers, modern gadgets that put volume and softness within your own reach. We talked about the foundation, scalp health, hydration, brushing, and protection. And we tried the small change challenge, because sometimes the tiniest adjustments bring the greatest surprises. But if you take away just one thing, let it be this: age is only a number. Style is a choice. Your hairstyle is not about hiding who you are, it's about expressing it. At 60, 70, 80, you carry wisdom, resilience, and beauty that no 20-year-old can match. The right hair simply allows the world to see that truth more clearly. So tomorrow morning, when you look into the mirror, try one small change. Shift your part. Add a little crown lift. Lighten your bangs. Then watch closely. You may find yourself smiling back at a version of you that feels more alive, more confident, more aligned with the woman you are today. And if this message inspired you, share it. Because every woman deserves to know that she's not past her prime. She's in her prime right now. Here's to grace, confidence, and hair that tells the right story.